You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, welcome back. Like we said before, our guest is Rian Pettus. Pettus, right? I'm saying that right?
That's right, Pettus.
Awesome. So yeah, you've already heard a little bit about him, but we want to dive in further. You said you're from Arkansas, or some people say Arkansas.
It's not your Kansas, it's our Kansas.
Oh, dude, I like that. I like that a lot.
We got a lot of jokes. Yeah, I'm from a very rural area of Arkansas, in the Ozark Mountains near the River Valley.
Is that tied to like Missouri?
The Ozarks, yeah,
Okay,
they go up to Missouri. It's. I actually learned recently that the area of the Ozarks is actually considered a separate culture of Missouri and Arkansas as a whole. So,
what kind of people? Like, is that you? Like a bunch of yous running around?
Yeah, very kind of. think like if a hillbilly and a redneck had a kid.
Isn't it the same thing?
Isn't that? Yeah,
No, they're very different. Very different. Hillbilly and a redneck's completely different.
We got, like, what's your definition of a hillbilly then?
Hillbilly, somebody lives on the mountain. We're talking overalls and no t-shirt on, banjos.
I thought it was also a redneck.
Yeah.
Nope, not a redneck. Redneck's it's your farmer. That's your guy down there drives a big old Ford.
That's where they get redneck from, right? The sunburn.
It sunburns in the back of your neck. He drinks his coffee black at the diner every morning, and hey, no nonsense kind of guy. That's a redneck.
Do they smoke different cigarettes?
Yeah. One of them smokes cigarettes, and the other smokes shit they grew in their yard, tobacco or otherwise.
That's the hillbilly.
That's the hillbilly.
So you're classified as a hillbilly then?
Kind of. I'm a bit of a mutt for that because
Okay.
I was raised on the mountains. My town had 50 people in it.
Damn.
Ranger, Arkansas. Salute. I don't think any of them have the internet yet, so they probably.
You just saluted them.
Yeah, it's rough out there. We had 3 churches. I grew up 15 miles down a dirt road. There were more chicken houses than houses.
50 people in 3 churches. That is insane.
Well, we all had to go to church. What do you want from us?
Is it all the
Methodist
same
church and
religion,
2
or do you
Baptist.
have like one? Oh, wait,
No,
what
it was
that?
Methodist and 2 Baptist. That was we had one on each side of the dirt road and then one in the middle.
You ever have church wars?
All the time. None of them get along with anything.
Oh my god. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, so mountain area.
Yeah, I learned though, but that's a different I looked at a cultural map of America. If you've never seen one, I recommend looking at it. It actually shows the different cultures of areas. So like the east part of North Carolina is not like the west part of North Carolina.
Yeah, no.
So
yeah, I hear
the
that.
mountainous part of Arkansas is a completely different color with no blend whatsoever to the rest of Arkansas and Missouri. So I've always met people from Arkansas. I'm like, I'm nothing like you. We have different experiences entirely. It's because that little strip of the mountains going up about 1,200 miles is a whole separate chunk.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I've been learning more about my culture out that way.
Culture, yeah.
As I
Damn. So
revert back to my accent.
Did you guys grow up on a farm? Maybe I'm thinking too much about this. Like a farm or?
We had a lot of land. We did a little bit of hay. My family was very poor, so we often were the workers, not the doers.
Okay.
My mom worked. She ended up working in retail for carports. Actually, that was her job.
Okay.
And I worked in chicken houses out that way. I've worked on farms. I've driven equipment. Basically odd jobs of what you can get a 13, 14-year-old to do. I've been working since I was about 13 years old, pretty full
Nice.
time.
Respect there. What about dad?
Dad worked, it's a fun story there. Mom's going to hate me for this story, but Dad is a electrical engineer, worked at a nuclear power plant for a long time.
Okay.
And then my mother got into some legal troubles. And you can't work at a nuke plant with that kind of record in your family.
Oh, shit.
So he's worked at a steel factory for the last, I want to say 20 some odd years, making camshafts for 18-wheelers.
Damn.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time. He's a machinist now, CNC machinist.
Yeah.
So he takes giant steel rods that are about as tall as we are, about as big around as about that. He sticks them in a machine and then he files it down to be a camshaft, puts it on a balancer, all that crap.
Damn.
Yeah,
And he's still doing it?
Yeah. I've almost probably every 18-wheeler I've driven as a truck driver after the military. I'm willing to bet most of them had a camshaft my dad touched at some point because it's the primary factory for him.
He's just touching all the camshafts.
All the camshafts, yeah. We're proud of you, Pops.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Putting them hands to work, man.
Yeah.
Nah.
They lived pretty far apart, though. I lived out in the country with Mom. Dad lived north in the city where the factory was.
Okay, cool. Do you have any siblings growing up?
One sister, a younger sister.
Okay, and then what does she do?
She's a 911 dispatcher moving towards law enforcement right now. She's actually looking at going into being a police officer on a college campus in my hometown.
What are those called? An LPO? No.
Something like that. It's a little different from my area since it's so small. They are actually
She's
like
just the sheriff.
they're like the police for that section of town.
Yeah.
That the college touches.
Okay.
So she's going through training. She's getting ready to go to the police academy and everything like that. But she's been a 911 dispatcher and she's worked in juvies as like a security guard for kids in correctional facilities and things like that.
Nice.
And then Subway for about 7 years beforehand.
Wow. Oh.
She'll make a mean sandwich.
she'll put the law on the sandwich.
Yeah.
No,
Extra mayonnaise with that jail time.
Horrible condiment to choose for jail.
Oh, I just thought about that. Yeah. No, I stick by it. It's what you get.
You're getting mayonnaise again, Fred.
Yeah. Can't do the crime. Don't ask for the condiment.
Oh, damn. All right, so I guess did you have to go to a different recruiting station because you said you were in the Marine Corps? So
yes.
where'd you have to go for that?
We had I think it's called a PCS. It's been so long since I went through the recruitment process. We had like a satellite office.
Okay.
That worked out of Fort Smith, which is about 2.5-3 hours away. That was the main recruiting office, which worked out of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
That was
it's like an RS and an RSS.
Yeah.
Recruiting station, recruiting substation.
Yeah, okay. we were below a recruiting substation.
Yeah, which is a satellite
office. So I had to drive up to Fort Smith, then drive up to Oklahoma City, and then that's where I did MEPS.
Oh damn.
There was a lot of people on the way there, but yeah, that was
And so, what did you do in the Marine Corps?
I joined to be a airborne parachute rigger.
Yeah.
That was my first MOS. My primary. I got picked on a lot in boot camp because you have to say airborne in the MOS title, and they're like, "Are you in the Army now?" I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's what it says on the paper. This recruit doesn't know.
Yeah.
But I hurt my Achilles really bad. I had a bad slip and fall during training, during IC training up in Virginia at Fort Lee, and I had like a 70% rupture of my Achilles tendon.
Damn.
They managed to put it back together because the beefy bits were still holding on, so they had to do the needles where they drag the tendons back together and then pin them in place for. I had a boot on for like 8 weeks, almost 8 months. Crutches, all that stuff. But you can't jump out of airplanes with an injury like that.
Yeah.
And so the Marine Corps asked me, like, well, you got to pick you a new job. I said, okay. They gave me a little book with the current MOSs available for lat move. It's like cook, supply, tanks, artillery. Oh Lord, what was the last one?
I'm guessing it's the one you didn't pick.
Motor T. That was the one. And so I picked tanks, artillery, and motor T in that order, and they said, very well, military police. And I was like, well, that wasn't an option. And they were like, well, here's your orders.
Damn.
So I never really had
Marine Corps
intention.
strikes again.
Yeah, they get you. They get you at these big jobs.
Yeah.
I had no intentions of becoming a military police officer. It was never. I never wanted to be a cop growing up. I never had any problems with law enforcement other than, well, I'm from like a little moonshine town, so you know the normal problems with police officers out that way, but not too crazy.
He's also your English teacher.
Yeah. Well, I got pulled. I'll try not to ramble too. I got pulled over by the cop in my area.
The cop.
I never met him before, but I got pulled over, and I wasn't drunk, but I was definitely a touch tipsy for a 16-year-old. And he pulls me over and goes, yeah, you're Cassie's boy, ain't you? And I'm like, oh no, you know my mom. And he's like, yeah, I dated her back in high school. I'm like, oh, I'm going to jail. We're all going to jail. And he made me call her and tell her where I was at. He did a little sobriety test. He goes, you live up the street down the mountain, go on get. And we gone on got, and I didn't drive for about 8 months.
I go on and got
as fast as I could. Then he came out to my mom's house about 2 weeks later and saw me pulling weeds with no gloves on over about 3 acres of land. And he's like, well, she took care of it.
I wish that. Yeah, fuck, man. I wish that was like that for some, like just hard labor afterwards.
Yeah, no, a lot of hard labor punishment growing up.
Damn.
Nothing too traumatic, but definitely like I learned real quick that I did not like spending 6 hours weed whacking. It's not a fun time in the Arkansas heat, which is very close to Louisiana style heat. Very hot, very humid. Not fun to weed whack. 3 or 4 acres of land in. Because once I got done with my yard, she sent me to the neighbors, and then the neighbors sent me down to the neighbors. So I was mowing.
You guys are all connected anyway.
Yeah, I was mowing. I was mowing for a while. Yeah.
You say neighbor, but really it was your aunt. And then it was your like.
You laughed. It was my aunt. It was my aunt, my grandma, and then her divorced family, and then up the road it was more like removed cousins. So. Damn. Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
Dating in the hometown was non-existent. So.
Yeah, just stick to bloodlines, baby.
No, we don't. We stick to the 3 counties over where I can find somebody without the name Pettus or Pruitt.
Oh, man. Dude, that's a lot. I couldn't imagine. So, like, what was your high school graduating class?
I think we had 18, I believe.
18.
Bro, get out!
I'd have to
That's
look.
insane.
We had a very small class. We had like I think it was somewhere from 18 to 30, somewhere in there. We had 2 periods per bell. So you had like left and right half a class. So one did math, one did English. Next period we switched. Next period science and English. Then we switched, and that was
Oh,
the whole
dude.
thing. It was very small.
Were you ever not invited to a birthday party? Because I would take that as absolute disrespect.
I actually
Like-
I went to elementary and middle school in the bigger city with my
Okay,
dad. We
alright.
lived in a town of about say the big city, 20,000 people.
Okay.
So about as big as it gets for that area of Arkansas. I went
Yeah.
to elementary and middle school there, and then I went to high school at the smaller town, the county high school.
Okay. Damn. That's
That's
mean,
what I
guess
moved
it
away
wouldn't
from
be
my-
that bad, dude. As long
Dude,
as-
I don't think I had one class that was less than like 24 people.
It wasn't
Yeah.
too bad. You get to know everybody. You know, you see the same people every day. Drama kind of stays low. There's obviously the drama that happens, but generally speaking, you play football. You do things. You know who's dating who. You're never worried about talking to somebody in the hallway, and you're worried about it being somebody else's girlfriend because they've been dating for 3 years now. You saw them at the family picnic, the work picnic, and the Christmas picnic because our dads worked together for the last 20 years or something.
That's so true. I was gonna say, cause us being from like city areas,
Yeah.
like I didn't have a class that was smaller than like 22 people. Yeah.
I think even because I ended up doing my last semester at the bigger high school. I transferred my last semester of my last year to my dad's town to be closer to the recruiter because I was living about an hour and a half away from him at that point.
Oh my god.
So I wanted to be closer to the recruiter to get all this crap done. I needed to go to PT, needed to get my runtime down, all that stuff. So I ended up moving back in with my dad, and I think I graduated there with like 300, and that was
I mean, that's still
that's a big class for us, man. That's
for you. Yeah, that's a sliver to mine.
Yeah,
I graduated with 970.
That's insane. I could not imagine 970 kids in high school and not it just being a violent
I didn't.
hellhole.
Yeah, I didn't even know the people to my left and right on graduation day. Like,
Yeah, I went to my high school graduation, my original high school's graduation, and I knew everyone's names and their families and their siblings, and like when you hear people cheering in the crowd, I knew which people were cheering for that person because I've known them my whole life.
damn. You also know their mother's maiden name, their social security number.
Yeah,
their date
we're
of
all
birth.
real tight, man.
Yeah,
It's
you're like,
you know,
oh, I know what street you grew up on. It's the same street I did because
Yeah.
we actually don't even label our streets.
well, we don't.
Okay.
I didn't have a road sign.
Oh my god. Oh,
They
that's-
brought one in a couple years later. It was a big deal. They took pictures of it and sent it to me. It was a whole thing.
Oh my god. Dude, that's pretty cool. I would want that sign. It's probably worth a ton of money now.
To all 13 people that cared about it?
Yeah. People like auctioning for it like on the streets. Like,
Yeah.
I want the road sign.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So military police. So you did that for 4 years?
8.
8.
Just about 8.
Okay, all right.
It was like 7.8 years is when I got out.
Yeah.
Well, I rounded up to 8 for
Okay.
simplicity's sake.
And where were you stationed at?
I did 4 years in Okinawa, Japan, in 3rd Law Enforcement Battalion as a field MP. So instead of like cop
Field
cars,
garrison, yep.
instead of cop cars and donuts, think more Geneva Convention and prisoners of war. What you see in like old Vietnam movies, the guy with MP on his helmet doing, that was
Yeah.
more what we did. We worked hand in hand with the infantry battalions.
Yep.
They would attach a company of us to them, and we would be in charge of site exploitation. So you capture a bunch of terrorists, and they got RPGs. All right, you can't just say, well, they had RPGs, because no one cares what a 19-year-old in 0311 says about what they had in their possession. So we
Yeah.
take the pictures, we take the fingerprints, we take the scans, we take the iris scans, and basically create a profile of what was found at these types of crime scenes that were considered, for terrorists, it's a crime against the main country. So then that would be packaged up and delivered to the host country or things like that. And then prisoner of war camps and things like that were our big specialty. And then your basic room clearing, patrolling, that kind of stuff.
That sounds so much cooler than I feel like what we give MPs credit for. Because
Yeah.
now we only see them staying at the gate, and field is not a thing anymore.
It's
If
not
I'm-
a thing.
It
Intel
is.
does
It
all
is
that.
and it isn't.
Yeah.
You as a military policeman, you can still be attached now because we used to do it. It was called the Field MP squad. So every infantry division had a company of MPs
Yeah.
that they were in charge of. They trained them. They kept up with everything. They did everything, right? So just like you have 0311s and then machine gunners, a weapons company, you have your mortarmen, everything like that in an infantry unit. the division would be in charge of a company of MPs to do what they needed to do with. Hey, put 2 on this patrol, put 3 over here. We're really good for convoy security and things like that.
Yep.
And that's how it was for the longest time. I think it was like 2008. They had a bright idea to make it its own battalion. Just all military. We had 800 military police officers in the 3 battalions that were active and the one reservist unit. But due to the way it kind of logistically worked out, it was kind of a waste of time because we sat there waiting for the infantry to get there so we could do their training because our training didn't matter to them.
Yeah. And
their training didn't matter to us. So it was a lot of double training people and wasting time that should have been spent other places.
Yeah.
So they got rid of the battalions and they're going back to the companies where there's just a group of about 70 to 80 MPs that were top of the line to go to basically work with the infantry hand in hand.
Okay, that's cool.
That's it's better to me that way for the safety of my fellow badge wearing Blue Falcons.
Yeah, because that's probably the credit I was leaning towards. Everybody gives them credit for being the Blue Falcon.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the name of law enforcement. No one's ever happy to see you behind them, but everyone's happy when you show up on the worst day of their life. It's part of the job. It's one of the reasons I got out of the field as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it. I'm super open to joking about it.
So stationed in Okinawa, and then you went where?
Cherry Point was my last duty station.
Oh, actually, when were you there from? Because now I'm curious.
2017 to beginning of 2017 to the end of 2020.
Oh, damn, we did not cross paths. That would have been super cool because I worked as one of those front gate Marines.
You were one of the FAPs.
Yeah, I was a FAP boy.
Yeah. I was in charge of all the FAPs out there.
Yeah, when I was at Cherry Point, I was a FAP.
That's cool.
But I loved it. I wanted to do it. I felt like because I'm a motor T cat.
Yeah.
So I felt like I just wanted to do something different. We needed to fill that FAP.
Yep.
So they sent me. I got lucky enough at the time. This was 2012. At Cherry Point, they didn't have enough 5811s.
Yep.
So they let me drive the squad car around. I thought I was untouchable.
It's a good feeling the first time you do it.
Oh my gosh.
Especially, I used to let the FAPs drive at night as long as they had a driver's license. They couldn't run the lights, but 2 a.m. on a Wednesday is usually not the time stuff pops off. And if we needed to, we can change seats real quick.
Yeah.
But letting them drive the police car was definitely the highlight of most of the FAPs.
Oh yeah.
I need to turn on the lights.
They sent me I got to go to the EVOC course so I could operate the lights and stuff.
If you go to EVOC, you're allowed to operate it. Some of our long-term FAPs we would do that for. We had a few...
I was FAP for like 9 months, almost a year.
Yeah. We had a few MOSs in the air wing that got disbanded. So like the Harriers, they just... No more airplanes. So all the mechanics for it basically got told lat move or rot. And...
Tech tanks.
The ones who rotted got FAP to PMO permanently. So we had a FAP there that was... It sucked because he was a Lance, but he didn't have a cutting score. Because he had a cutting score, but there was not one to meet.
Because he didn't have a designator.
He didn't have a designator. So he was with us for like 2.5 years. He was a sheriff's deputy before he joined. And so it was funny, I would put these new MPs with this FAP to learn from because he had more law enforcement experience in his little finger than most of these guys did in their whole bodies.
Yeah, he's just the prime example.
Yeah.
Like, why not use the tool that you have?
Use the tool for the job was definitely... And we were a very small department over there, 5 or 6 MPs per shift, and then 5 or 6 blueberries, or the civilian police officers.
I was just going to bring that up.
Per shift, and we have, we got 12 of us, and we got 14 slots to fill, plus the gates. It ends up being, very, very tight-knit, and instead of worrying more about, does this guy have this experience, and we need to make sure he gets exposure to this, and we didn't really care. Like, you got exposure when you got exposure, but we need somebody to do the job today.
Yeah, like 2 platoons, right? Alpha Bravo. They had 2 sides of the house.
We have the Alpha and Bravo side, and it was two platoons in each side. So we did 12-hour shifts.
Okay.
They used to be 8, so it was 3. You had mornings, mids, and nights, and then it was mornings and nights.
That's the one I was morning, mids, or nights. So
yeah, I missed mid shift, but they changed it right when I got there. Mid shift was the best.
See, I actually like night shift.
I didn't mind it until we went to 12 hours.
That's
I would
true.
show up to work at 1600, and I'd get off work at about 0800, and that is a miserable. Somehow they say it's 12 hours, but it sure felt like 15.
Yeah, when I did nights for us was 21 to 05.
Yeah, that's like the golden hours. Mids was great. You wake up at 10 o'clock, go take care of your crap for the day. Everyone's at work, so like if you need to go take care of something, IPAC or something, it's wide open, and you go to work from like 1 to 9. I'm like,
Yeah.
sweet.
I'm trying to remember some of the blueberries. If I say some names, maybe you'll know them.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Moore. So it might have been
Skinny guy.
Yeah,
Always
Sergeant
had a
Moore.
5 o'clock shadow at like every day of the week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then there was an O'Brien. People call him OB.
Nope.
Or a Granger.
Granger was there. He
That's
Granger,
my homie.
Granger was a homie. Yeah, we're Facebook friends.
I'm
He's
friends with him on Instagram.
He's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
He's actually a phenomenal skateboarder.
Is he really?
Yeah,
I knew he
his
was
name
like.
on Instagram is Skate Granger.
I know he was like an old man with like a young man's heart and soul.
Oh yeah, dude was awesome.
Yeah, he taught me a lot actually. I worked in this platoon a little bit, and he was very,
thing.
very knowledgeable, and I enjoyed working with him a lot.
Yeah, he was.
I don't think he's there anymore.
I know. I think he retired, but he was a phenomenal dude.
Yeah, real good guy.
He really taught a lot. I would say the same thing. He taught me a lot of stuff too. Just like things to just learn on the fly, and whenever you get the chance. But
you might have had a military policeman there that's a Blueberry now, Saucedo.
No, I don't know him.
Yeah, he's a real good friend of mine. We were partners for a while, same platoon for years. But he's been there since like the dawn of time, basically now.
I was there when there was a guy named Montanari. Another guy, Kilgore. Who was definitely well over his time. Dude was an animal. And then there was a Goblin. Oh yeah, those were like the big Bridges. Yeah, those were like the big 4 that I remember from being in the platoon.
They had a lot of turnover. Over there.
Yeah, a lot of those guys were probably already getting ready to move on when I got there.
Who was your lieutenant?
Dude, this guy.
Civilian, right?
Yeah, he was a civilian guy. He was a big black dude.
Jones?
Yes.
Jones. He was the OPSO.
Okay.
He got moved up to first lieutenant in the
Congrats.
civilian world, and he moved over to operations as like the big boy civilian.
Yeah.
Right underneath the provost marshal. And
my provost marshal at the time was Major Wintermuth. Oh
no.
yeah, nah.
And we my whole time we
scary.
didn't have a provost marshal. We had a chief of police, which would have been the deputy provost for you.
Okay.
Chief Bowie.
Okay, yeah, I don't know that one either. Damn, that's such a small world.
It is a tiny
once
world.
you get talking, people always think like, oh, I'm in the Marine Corps, it's this big organization.
Nah, you're it's like 7 steps to Kevin Bacon, but even less. It's every time, every time.
Damn. All right, so then your time at Cherry Point, being a military police officer, what I guess oh my God, I don't want to say you got out. You did get out, but what led to your decision to besides just the job, because I know you kind of mentioned that. But...
well, I got very sick. I was, for a long time, an alcoholic. Had undiagnosed sleep apnea. I had a lot of problems that I basically was throwing Band-Aids on for many years after running around Asia and some of the things I did over there. We basically hit a point where my body couldn't keep up anymore. I had a major alcoholic break where I quit drinking and was at risk of dying due to alcohol withdrawal. I was at severe risk of stroke, heart attack, or it's just called cardiac failure, where your brain stops sending the heartbeat signal due to alcohol withdrawal. So I had to be put in a facility and put on life support, essentially. They had pills that essentially forced my kidneys and livers and heart to keep functioning.
Damn.
They're miserable too. They're not. Anybody that's ever taken them, it's not a real good time. It doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
It feels like battery acid running through you sometimes.
Damn.
Once I got sober, that was in 20. I have to look at I got an app for it. I've been sober 2,093 days or 299 weeks now.
Dude, congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congrats, bro. That's sick.
Sobriety rocks.
Yeah.
Let me look at my stats here. I got sober May 28th, 2018. I always forget the day.
So what was when you're told like, hey, you have all these health problems that are absolutely worse because of alcohol? What were some? Because it's not hard in the Marine Corps.
No, I didn't.
Just stop drinking, and I mean, you look around; it's almost sadly part of the culture of being a Marine.
Absolutely. And I wasn't. When you think of an alcoholic, you think of a fat bald guy who gets DUIs on the weekend. Never got a DUI. The only time I ever drove with any alcohol in me was that story I told you, and I learned my lesson because I was so scared of what would happen to me if I did it again.
I thought you were picking weeds again.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, honestly, it worked.
Yeah.
But we. That was it. You know, I was never broke. I was never, selling things off to buy alcohol. I was not your stereotypical alcoholic that a lot of people really think about when they think the word alcoholic. It's almost got like a negative connotation to it. But truly and honestly, it's in the cards for you. It's genetic. It's not really a choice you get in the matter. Some people are genetically dispositioned to be addicted to drugs or pornography or serotonin of some capacity. You know, we've all know a guy in the gym who physically cannot stop. You know, everyone's got something somewhere a genetic disposition for. I'm Irish, Irish, Native American, and German. There's a lot of alcoholism.
So the three worst.
The three worst ones.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's half Native American Mexican, and my grandma is the Irish. So grandpa was Indian, grandma was a redhead Irish lady, and then my dad's real pale. He's real white. So almost all of it's gone out of me except the black facial hair. I like spicy food and I tan pretty good. That's all I got from that side. So, but you know, I always thought alcoholics were those guys that, you know, had the big fat beer bellies and, you know, yellow eyes, and they got DUIs and they beat their wife and smelled bad, oily wife beater. But mine was, I got drunk one night. I got into some trouble. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that one, but I got in some trouble. And essentially I was like, okay, well, I'm about to get in JP. Like, let's brace for impact. I stopped drinking because, you know, I had other crap going on. And I woke up and I couldn't fill my cup with water because of the shakes. And I was like, that's not normal. I'd never had the shakes before. I never had a morning drink. I was never one of those guys. What I do have is a hypoactive liver. And the amount of alcohol that I needed to consume to be drunk was very high. Almost a full fifth is what it would take for me to feel real drunk. But not even blackout. Just like pretty tatered up.
Yeah. Tatered up. I like that.
So it's just the raw.
I don't like the situation, but
we love.
I love that you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it is great. It is. My grandmother's also an alcoholic. She's been sober since the day I was born.
Wow.
That was a big thing, and she'd warned me my whole life, and I told her, you know, Grandma, I'm not, whatever. You go to your AA meetings, you know.
Yeah.
Go drink your black coffee, smoke your cigarettes, and talk about, hi, my name is blah blah blah. You know.
Yeah.
I started shaking so bad, I was like, I need to go to the emergency room. Something's wrong with me. I went to the emergency room. They took my blood pressure. I was sitting like at 200. They were worried I was going to have a stroke, so they did emergency, I think it was like nitrous to reduce my blood pressure.
Yeah.
And we started scanning me to figure out what was wrong. And the doctor's like, how much you drink, man? I'm like, well, you know, on the weekends and when I got days off, and, you know, at night after work, I'll have a few shots before bed and blah, blah, blah. It turns out the constant stream of alcohol flowing through me had made my body completely alcohol dependent. I wasn't digesting glucose correctly. I was replacing it almost entirely in my body's function with alcohol. The byproduct of producing alcohol or digesting alcohol is almost like a fake glucose. My body was running off of that, not real sugar.
Damn.
So when I stopped putting the alcohol in the system, the whole system started crashing. It did not. It was like I was starving to death while eating. So it's like dying of thirst while you're drowning, kind of deal.
Damn.
So I ended up being sent to an emergency facility. I was there for 48 days. For the first 20, I was on critical care. So I was hooked up to machines all the time, IV fluids constantly. They're pumping me full of enough drugs to sedate a horse to try to keep my liver and kidneys working. I was, you know, one of my kidneys was looking like it might get shut down, and I had to get it removed. But it ended up pulling through at the very end. I had severe liver damage and a form of brain damage, which led to the actual problems I dealt with. Later on, I ended up having a brain tumor on my pituitary gland, which caused a massive hormone imbalance. This was basically band-aiding for a long time. And the pickling effect of alcohol on the brain had essentially been suppressing it. So whenever I stopped pumping my body with vinegar, that got worse. So yeah, I got sober and everything started getting better for a little while, then everything got way worse.
So like during that whole, like, because you obviously see the good in not drinking anymore, cutting out the alcohol, but then it brings on these other problems. So like what's like your mental fluctuation during that time?
Oh, it was real bad. Fluctuation there was incredible. It's almost, if I had to imagine what being bipolar felt like, that's got to be close to it. Because between the withdrawal and the physical withdrawal, which was the worst part, but there's also a mental withdrawal of quitting doing something that you've done for so long, you know. Everyone else gets to drink, why don't I? You know, there's a lot of rationalization you have to do. You know, why does he get to drink 2 beers at dinner and he's fine, but I can't?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it boiled down to. I had to learn and understand that it's not a choice I'm making. It's not something that I was actively a participant in. I was an alcoholic at birth. I was predispositioned to, if I ever started consuming large quantities of alcohol, this was going to happen. 100% chance. There's no avoiding it. They can even isolate the gene now in people's DNA to determine this crap younger. Same thing with like opioid addiction and things like that. Some people can take painkillers, and I'm one of those people. I took painkillers every day for years. Never abused them. Never had a problem. Had no problem quitting them. But alcohol, I couldn't stop. It was not a frontal decision being made in the brain.
Yeah.
So learning about myself and learning about my family history and talking to my grandmother actually a lot about her alcoholism and her trials and tribulations with it, and my grandpa who is not sober but has dealt with it his whole life. I learned more about myself and what it means to like be an alcoholic, to get rid of that negative connotation. And me and my grandma always joke, it's our weapon. You learn how to, weaponize it. You take that same drive and addiction and things that you would be dispositioned for, and you twist it to work for you. And that's carried over with me in a lot of aspects of my life as I learn more about my disabilities and mental illnesses and things like that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Here's before we get off that topic. Since I've been sober, I've saved $52,000, and that was a low ball guess at how much money I spent on alcohol.
And that's a year?
That's across
4 years.
That's across the March 28th or May 28th, 2018 to February today, 2024. So
almost 6 years.
Yeah. Means you do it in years.
That's that truck you got.
5.731 years. Yeah, I've almost had a brand new pickup truck and alcohol money saved. So like that is a number that I always look at once or twice
That's
a
legit,
year. Like,
man.
oh my god! And I lowballed the estimate on that when I set that app up.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, because you got a beautiful truck out there, so that definitely helps out. And I guess you sobered up while you were in the military.
Yep,
So how hard was that? Because that is a social norm, I feel like, in the military. So.
It was difficult. I was still living in the barracks. I was unmarried, so I'm in the barracks. I'm sober now, and
Those barracks parties.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a 20-something-year-old going to AA on Wednesday night instead of going to parties in the lobby. It's got a negative connotation to it. People look at you differently when you tell them you don't drink. Even today, even now, as almost a 30-year-old, I tell people go to a party like, oh, okay, so I don't drink. Like, oh. They get almost defensive over it. I'm like, I just don't drink. Don't worry about it. I ain't worried about it. You're not offending me. And a lot of people, once they find out I'm an alcoholic, get super defensive. Like, oh, I can't talk about alcohol around you. I'm sorry. They'll hide their drink or.
Yeah.
It's super. It's almost
they
more.
Pussyfoot around the idea.
It's almost more offensive to be overprotective than to just
leave it alone.
I've got a handle on it. I go to parties. I drink fake beer when I go to parties. I have a non-alcoholic beer that I really like. Took me a long time to get to that.
What is it?
Heineken Zero.
The Heineken 0. I was gonna say that too.
Dude.
All right, can I have a moment of honesty?
Do you cuss on this thing?
Yeah.
This shit fucking slaps. It's so damn good. I don't even like beer when I drank, but I love that shit now. It takes a hit.
I seen it in the PX, right? And I stupid thought. Here comes a stupid stashed away thought. I legitimately thought to myself, there's no alcohol in it, and they still card you for it.
Yep.
Right? Because I had thought, like, here we go. Can kids buy it? Because I literally thought, like, what if a kid just want to be like their older brother or their mom or their dad and be like, I'm going to have a beer too, and it's this non-alcoholic one.
So there's different ones, right? So like O'Doul's is what you're thinking of. Children can buy and drink O'Doul's. It is a non-alcoholic, non-hops based. It is basically the piss water. It is not. I don't know if you ever had it, but it's horrible.
It's horrible.
No. It's terrible.
So bad.
It's actually, I think it's meant to be that way, so kids get a drink like, oh, beer's terrible, and they just move on with their life. But Heineken is made out of hops. They simply burn off the alcohol, basically, all of it. It's like 0.001%. I did the math because I am an alcoholic, and I would need to drink 48 in a single hour to get the feelings of intoxication that would be close to consuming one beer.
48 of them.
Yeah, you gotta really.
Is that with like weight and size, like incorporated, like in the
well, with being being an MP, you learn about the body's ability to digest alcohol. You look at it when you do sobriety testing and alcohol stuff testing and breathalyzers. And so when I was sober, I was sitting there next to the breathalyzer one night looking at the graphs for another DUI that somebody had wrote, and I was like, I pulled the website, looked at the amount, crunched the numbers, like I drank 48 of these in an hour. at 12 ounces. I'm like, oh, it's not physically possible. Like, I wouldn't be able to. I literally couldn't get drunk off this.
In an hour.
Yeah, no, you'd have to really slam these things. You'd be looking at stomach rupturing.
I
before
would.
you looked at being drunk.
I not that I don't. I full on support you and your sobriety.
Sure.
But I would love to see you try the 48
Listen, I would be a liar if I said I hadn't figured out. If I hadn't figured out, like, I wonder how fast I could. If I really started drinking like a gallon of water every 3 hours, right? Could I train my stomach and bladder to handle that? Like,
yeah, that's insane.
But that's the thing about alcoholism, right? That is a nice little thing there. If you go to a bar, you bring an alcoholic to a bar, you put a gun to his head, and you say, if you take that shot, I'll blow your brains out, right? A normal person goes, well, I don't want to die, so whatever, dude. An alcoholic goes, I wonder if I can get it in my stomach before he pulls the trigger. It's a completely different mindset that
I'm
occurs.
gonna snip that one. I like that.
Yeah, it's a completely shift in mindset that occurs with people who suffer from addiction when it comes to their substance. That's not really like we'll just quit doing it. We'll quit doing that. It's a wiring issue built into the brain. And that was a metaphor someone told me when I was getting sober at the hospital, and I was like, well, that's dumb, but I'll be damned if I didn't have the same thought. I sat there and thought, like, damn, it takes this long to hit it. I mean, is he going to pull the trigger when I pick it up, or is he going to do it once I get the shot down? Like, I started thinking about the logistics of it, and a normal human being goes, I don't want to be fucking shot. Like,
yeah, but an alcoholic is like, it'll be worth it. Yeah,
but it's not even going to be worth it. You're even a conscious and you wouldn't do it. A normal alcoholic still wouldn't take the shot, but you'd have that thought. That little thought, that little inkling in the back of your brain. I wonder if I could.
Yeah.
Possibly squeeze. You'll try to rationalize it, and then you'll go back to your normal reality of that's not possible, and you move on with your day. But that's the difference in the thought process that occurs that can lead to problems with addiction long term, where those little thoughts, without a gun to your head, result in you drinking when you normally wouldn't.
Yeah. That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah,
I really like that. I appreciate
it's
that.
a very, if you've never read an addiction in the brain, it's a very, very complicated and interesting thing to read about. It completely rewires how your pleasure center runs.
Yeah.
It hijacks the whole circuit. It's people that do heroin. We've all heard the stories in France. People get kidnapped and they start sticking it with heroin and they can't quit. Because they're hooked on it. It's like that, except for it affects every part of your life every day, and it has these little changes. And when you would make a decision for the left, an irrational normal human being, even the rational alcoholic would make a decision on the left, you still have an inkling for the right? And then later down the road, when it's less dramatic situations, you take that right path, and it ends up being a whole shift in how the entire brain is wired, operates, and makes decisions based off of the addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've learned so much. and like I grew up with I didn't grow up with my dad, but he was addicted to shit. My brother had addiction issues, but I never would have thought about it.
And my dad is a straight up alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like wake up in the morning, start drinking.
Hit one. Yeah. Gotta knock the shakes out.
Yeah. My dad was majorly, when I was born, he was passed out drunk. Like puking drunk. The day I was born.
And everyone's ability to regulate.
How do you get your dad a diaper and shit?
But he handles it. He knows
the ability to regulate it is very different depending on the person and the drug and the age. Young alcoholics, generally speaking, are your guys drinking blackout drunk every weekend. Who enjoys being blackout drunk?
Yeah, no.
No one actually likes that. No one really likes being blackout drunk. But it's an issue of self-control. But it's not based off of discipline. It's based off of the physical wiring of the brain's pleasure center that you cannot really fight at a very immature age. Before puberty's done, you don't really have a defense against your own brain.
Damn.
When you were 20 years old and you wanted to do something, who could talk you out of it?
Yeah,
not a damn person. Yeah. So these guys are the ones who are binge drinking to the point of blacking out and vomiting on their own shirts. And at a younger age, they have regulation issues and things like that. And then as they get older, they either learn to control it and they get better, or a lot of them simply learn to live with it. You become that functioning alcoholic, which is what I was for a really long time. I was a functioning alcoholic. You would have never thought, unless you went to the bar with me, like, damn, that dude opened up with 4 shots of tequila and a Jaeger bomb, and he's going to the bathroom and coming back for another round in the next 5 minutes. You're like, what the?
Damn.
But that's got to do with my liver issue I have, which is a hypoactive liver. I process chemicals much faster than I probably should.
Is it okay for me to ask what was your go-to?
Sure. Jack Daniels. I like Jack Daniels with either a splash of water or a splash of Coke.
Why do people splash the water?
Have you never had Jack with water?
Are you kidding me? Any whiskey.
Have you never had whiskey with water?
No.
Yes.
Okay. And like I said, this is I'm deep enough in this I can talk about this. I'm gonna be a little thirsty, but I'm fine. So please don't get all weird about it.
Yeah.
Get you a glass of whiskey. You want to fill it about halfway up. You want to give it your water, right? You want to give it about, if you have a whiskey glass, it's halfway full. You want to give it that much water. What it does is it cuts the edge of the alcohol itself, where it hits the tongue, and it's like almost aggressive. You know when you do like a shot, and you're like right afterwards.
Yeah.
It removes that and lets you enjoy the whiskey itself. A lot of people also will do just 2 ice cubes. Throw 2 ice cubes in there. As it melts, it splashes.
Damn.
Yeah. You've never had like a bourbon with a splash?
Nope.
No, dude, that's the best way. That's the best way to drink whiskey. If you're not doing shots or like Jack and Cokes and you're not trying to slam them.
Jack and Coke.
If you want to sit out and have like a nice, it works with rum too. You want to have a cigar and a nice glass of something brown. Put a splash in there. It'll
Damn.
make a big difference.
That's like the only drink I'll have now. Is like if I have 1 glass of whiskey or bourbon, and I have the ice balls.
Yep.
And I just let them sit there for about 10 or 15 minutes before I take a drink.
Don't let it melt all the way, but you let it soak in a little bit. And you'll see the water in the whiskey.
Yep.
And there's like a nice, almost like oil mixing with water.
Yeah.
That is when it's ready.
Okay.
It also rum. Since you're a rum guy, put Mountain Dew in it.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew was created as a sour mixer, and it became a popular soda.
That is a redneck thing.
That is a redneck thing.
Yeah, that's why they used to have a little mountain guy on there.
Yeah, that's
It's
literally.
not for Mountain Dew.
You used to mix it with moonshine because moonshine.
Is that why it's called Mountain Dew?
Yes.
Because it's like the dew from the.
Yes,
Bro, I'm
that's
about
where
to
it's from.
Fucking leave. I've learned way too
So
much
much
right
today.
now.
Dude, I grew up drinking moonshine on the mountains, and splashing it with something sour is the best way to drink it.
Moonshine is.
Because like actual shine, not the crap
It's
you can buy
fucking
down.
fuel.
If you buy the crap down at the PX, you're not drinking shine. You
No,
bought vodka with extra steps.
It's my buddy from his barn out in Indiana.
You know what I'm talking about. Gasoline goes down easier.
Yep.
But it splash it with a little bit of we do shots and splash a little bit of Mountain Dew in there and like a touch of lime, that extra citrus. Oh my god. And then we used to make like mountain apple pie moonshine and shit like that.
Damn. That's legit.
Yeah.
It's almost like you took me back to Prohibition.
My grandpa was a stock car racer in Arkansas. My whole family races stock cars. That started with my great grandpa being a moonshine runner.
Damn.
Yeah, we've been building stock cars. I have in our old land. We have all of our old cars from the racetracks out there, and we got the old mob cars. That was his shine car, and all the fake compartments built into it still.
Did your dad know Al
Bro,
Capone?
what? Hold on. Because I love the 20s and
Yeah.
Prohibition. Like, that is one of my favorite eras.
Yeah,
I think it was great grandpa. I never really learned a whole lot about it because it's not a. Nowadays we just race stock cars.
Yeah.
But they were out in the woods. We could call it the Ponderosa.
It would have matched well with my skin color in that time.
Yeah, maybe not, but
It'll buff,
right?
It'll buff out.
I love those times.
yeah, no,
It just looks like you drank extra whiskey.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all. That's how I put it.
Hey, I drink a little too much moonshine.
Little-
Took
yeah,
my
yeah.
color right now.
Yeah. You gotta bleach it out. Great. It was like great grandpa or great grandpa was an old shiner, and
Dude, that's awesome.
my grandpa and my dad and I have all raced dirt track stock car.
Oh, that's cool.
I almost bought a stock car a while back, but I ended up talking myself out of it for a motorcycle.
Oh, man.
So is that where stock car came from?
Yes, NASCAR and stock car is completely based off of moonshining because they used to race each other in the back roads, on dirt roads and these little mob cars with fake compartments, and cops are good and all, but an armored car can't take a dirt road at 85 miles an hour, and once you grow up living on dirt roads like I did, man, I used to hit my dirt road at 70, 80 miles an hour in my little S10 pickup truck. No problem. Hit the turn, downshift, let the tires slide a little bit. There she goes. You learn how to drive on the dirt and racing in dirt. Dang on down there. My accent come out a little bit. I had my accent super good, but it comes out when I talk about it.
Dang on.
But yeah, stock car racing and NASCAR is all from moonshining. It's the birthplace. Have you ever? There's an old movie on it. I can't remember the name of it, but if you look at moonshine and NASCAR, it'll come up and it'll show you. It's a movie about like how it evolved. Yeah, how it evolved from
I love those
moonshining.
times.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting.
The Frank Sinatra times,
Yeah.
like the mafia of
Yep.
Chicago, and then the South.
That's what I mean. Like, did
How the
your
South and the
great grandfather might have known what Al Capone somewhere in there?
I think Al Capone was more East Coast, big cities.
Yeah.
I don't think they had big things out where I'm at.
That's where they were getting all their
my
moonshine,
county is still a dry county. You can't buy alcohol in it.
That's insane.
But we have places to go where you buy, a case of soy sauce, and it just, oh no, the labels got mixed up, and it's a 30 rack of Bud, and then we would buy it and stick it, and I had a hidden spot in my truck for it in the wheel well, and the tradition lives on.
That's so cool.
It's still living history. Yeah. We had one.
Some would say it's distilled.
Distilled. We have a little tiny county that's like the size. The county itself is probably smaller than this subdivision. The county is called Blackwell, and it is 4 liquor stores, 2 beer stores, and a gas station. That is the entire county. Population 0. Their job is to live between all the dry counties and sell alcohol. That is the whole purpose of it.
They probably make bank though.
Oh, absolutely.
God.
But they don't sell it on Sundays, so you got to get it on Saturday.
Yeah, it's the same thing here.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's literally the government got tired of having to go so far to get their booze, so they made one little speck of a wet county.
Damn.
Okay, so is it The Last American Hero or Red Dirt Rising?
It might be Red Dirt Rising.
Okay.
I think that's it, because that one gets more...
From 2011?
Yeah, that gets more into like how stock car racing was born, because stock car racing birthed NASCAR.
Yep.
And then asphalt racing has evolved from that.
That's cool.
I'm watching it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had an old 71 Ford Pinto that we raced.
Oh, dude, that's legit.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's
I wish
awesome.
I had some like
First car I ever drove, I was in a stock car. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I had some fucking.
Had two gears, forward and back.
Oh, dude, that's.
And I had to. He made me cut the tires. So we buy old stripped down like bad tires. We plug the holes in the sidewalls and stuff, and then we heat it and cut the tread off, and then we put our own tread in it with a soldering iron. So. Yeah, we built the whole thing. I went to a welding school so I could help weld the roll cages with my buddy or my dad's friend, because it took so long for him to make a roll cage. So with 2 people welding on it who knew how to weld, it was way faster.
Yeah.
So I literally went to like a welding school to learn how to manufacture roll cages for stock cars faster.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
So from so then the alcohol, going sober, brought up other issues, and you said brain tumor.
Yeah.
So were you still in the Marine Corps during that time, or?
Yeah, I started having a bunch of weird issues. Really weird hot flashes, blurry vision, issues with sex drive, without getting too deep in the weeds, but like it was a strange, weird time, and it felt like something was wrong. So I went to the hospital, and they took my blood and took my hormones, and I was producing more prolactin, which is the chemical that makes women produce breast milk, than a woman who had given birth 3 months ago. My rates were almost double, and they started scanning me. I found out I can't get MRIs. I have a tattoo that has iron in it, apparently, because the MRI machine tried to remove that one for me.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it started electrocuting me, because it couldn't. It was such a little amount of iron. It wasn't being ripped out, but it was being magnetized, so it started generating electricity. And so my shoulder started twitching, and my arm started twitching. Is this stupid tattoo of my last name on my shoulder?
Ain't that a son of a bitch?
Yeah, I don't remember getting the damn thing. I was drunk when I got it. So
Damn.
I woke up with it. I was changing in my office. My cat was like, "You get your name tattooed on your shoulder in like Times New Roman?" I'm like, "Whatever, sir." What?
Damn.
That was a good bender. But it turned out they narrowed it down. I had a benign tumor on my pituitary gland that had been enlarging and caused me to produce the wrong hormones at the wrong times. So I started having weird issues. Testosterone was nuked. Estrogen was crazy high. I started developing breast tissue, like actual breast tissue, not like man boobs. I'm talking like I had a boob.
Like you had
I had a nice boob. It was pretty good.
What's
Like
it
an
called?
A-B?
It was like a big egg.
It's not like gynecomastia, is it?
It was similar to gynecomastia.
Yeah.
What you see with people who use steroids, where their estrogen spikes up
I
afterwards.
had
and they start.
gynecomastia. I had it removed.
And it'll be like a little lump, right? Like
I don't
almost.
take steroids by that.
You know, with gyno, it's like right behind the nipple. It'll be like
Yep.
a little lump. Here, I'll pull up a picture for you. I'll gross you out. today.
Yeah, I had a full-on like B cup, and all the kids in school wanted to play with it, so they get
Oh,
some
so
action.
you had the puberty issue.
Yeah. This one,
Yeah.
my left breast.
Yeah.
Man, that thing was a nice B cup, dude.
Yep,
Kids would
so-
fucking come by and grope me for like
like
$5.
it had like a little golf ball behind the nipple, right?
Yeah,
That
I got mine removed, and I actually got mine removed at Cherry Point.
Yep, I got
Actually.
mine removed as well there.
Nice.
They didn't do a good job. So.
Yeah, I had like a scar underneath my nipple, and now
I don't think they had a scalpel. They ended up using a
shovel.
chainsaw.
Yeah.
Without getting too big on the camera, you can see how bad of a job they did on me.
Oh, dude, yeah, mine looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
Not to like compare.
No, yeah, it's gnarly.
That is wild.
Yeah,
Here is
this is mine.
Here is the before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a boob, and you can even see like the inflammation on the other side where it was very minor. Let me check on this. Let me check out my boobs.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
You never seen someone with gynecomastia?
No, I didn't
So
know
then-
what it was.
It's actually quite embarrassing. If
It's
I'm
very
being honest.
very embarrassing to admit you had to have your tits cut off as a
people,
male.
yeah, and people talk to you like some kids used to call me dog tit.
How blood squeamish are you?
Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah. Here's after. You can see how bad off it ended up being for the surgery.
Damn. Yeah, mine was like
You
the
blood
same
squeamish?
thing.
No.
It's not too
They
bad.
had pipes implanted to remove the.
He looks like he's a part of the Matrix.
They ended up
Yeah.
removing so much tissue from this side. They had to dig up and in because what they do is they want to sever the nerve to the mammary gland because the mammary gland gets its own nerve cluster. When they went up there and did that, they hit the nerves to my right arm, and I have very limited feeling in the right arm entirely. And that was what.
Naval Hospital just fucked you up.
Yeah,
Jeez.
they got me good. I lost a lot of sensation. I still have pressure, which is a saving grace. I can still feel when I'm holding something, but the actual sensation of touch, metal, skin, and cloth all feels the same to me.
Damn.
And heat usually doesn't make it through. The way I know something's hot or not is if my fingernails expand. You know, when you grab something hot, I can feel my fingernails pressure on the edge of my fingernails, and that's how I know something's too hot to touch.
Damn.
And I end up with severe pain in the medial, the radial, and the medial nerves. I was on pain management for many years. I ended up on 85 milligrams of oxycodone a day to manage the pain. There's that hyperactive liver again though.
Yeah.
I was fine. I drove an 18-wheeler on that dose. I passed the sobriety. Dude, I had to go to the state trooper's office. I passed the sobriety
I'm fucking
test.
fine, officer.
Yeah, no, they did a full SFST for the test for narcotics, and I passed. They're like, it's obviously in your system, but you're not impaired. Your reaction time's great, everything's like that. Like, what's your dose? And I'm like, right now I'm sitting on about 55. And they're like, you fucking what? Because that's the equivalent of a full bump of heroin in the veins. I was doing that daily. And when I quit taking painkillers, no withdrawals other than the basic headaches and you were taking a chemical for a long time. It felt like it's like quitting caffeine. It was annoying. It wasn't bad. I don't miss it. I don't miss feeling a little zooted all the time.
Zooted.
Yeah, I don't miss that. It always made me in bed. It always made me feel.
You got
like,
all the good words today. Catered, zooted.
dude. I stream for a living, man.
Yeah.
I got creative language is half my stuff. You seen me? They're not here for good looks, all right? They're here because I'm funny sometimes.
No, dude, you are a funny guy.
Yeah,
even from the first time I met you, yeah.
Yeah, we've been goofing off for a while.
Yeah.
But,
so moving
yeah.
into the brain tumor, and your stuff with your, you said
Prolactin.
prolactin.
Or the pituitary gland.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, which is the hormone regulation center of the brain. It's a little P in the middle right here, and it's in charge of your puberty, it's in charge of your hormones, it's in charge of telling the testicles to make testosterone, in charge of telling, I forget where men make estrogen at, but we make it somewhere. I think it's the kidneys or the liver or pancreas or something. It's in charge of that. It regulates all of the hormones. So pituitary issues, people with giantism have a large pituitary gland.
Giantism?
People that are like 7-8 foot tall.
Yeah.
People with dwarfism have a reduced pituitary gland. So it's the pituitary gland
I'm mind blown today.
It's very, very critical.
Are you a doctor?
No, not at all. No, I barely went to college.
Dude.
Yeah,
I guess you learn through your own
I
shit,
read.
though.
I read a lot.
Yeah.
And even then, I have very severe ADHD, which I recently got diagnosed and treated. And dude, that's we'll get to that one. I might cry off of that one.
Okay.
But whenever I find something wrong with me, I don't like just trusting that a doctor is just telling me the truth on things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I read, and when I can't read, I listen to YouTube, and I listen to audiobooks, and I get informed on the subject from other doctors, and it's kind of like during COVID, everybody became a expert in disease and control all of a sudden overnight, but I spent, the first year of COVID just trying to figure out how do viruses work? What's a coronavirus? How does that work? How does that entail? What does that do? Why are these vaccines the way that they are? Why is everyone freaking out about RNA strains? And I just learned about stuff before I opened my mouth about it, if that makes sense.
That's good. It's probably what I
respect
need to
that.
do. Yeah, it's probably what I need to do.
It's
You said yeah, like you agree, JP? Like, yeah,
No,
you
it's
should
just-
probably stop spitting out shit you don't
No,
know.
you absolutely should.
I feel like I make it fun that way. But
No, it's fun to shoot it out your ass sometimes, and I say it all the time on my live stream. I'm like, I've been wrong before, so let's try it out. Some people are like, you should do this. I'm like, I don't think that's right, but I'll try. We'll give it a go. The game I play is very, very, very complex, to the point of simulators look up to it. So there's times people are like, you should do this. I'm like, I don't think so, but I've been wrong before. We'll try it. And that's
Yeah.
kind of my life saying is I've been wrong before. I'll give it a go.
So what was when you get taught or get told something like, "Hey, you have a brain tumor"? Where's your mental state go from there?
At first I was scared. Obviously, you know, your brain is a very intimate part of you. More so, I think, than the physical body. You know, losing an eye or losing an arm or leg. I don't want to downplay it by any stretch of the imagination to anybody amputees that could be watching, but losing a part of you that has a function is one thing, but losing a part or having a part of you broken that is you is a completely other feeling from my perspective. Also, I'm not an amputee, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't want to shoot it out my ass like I just said.
No, you're
But
good,
but
you're good.
having a, you know, you have a relationship with yourself. You have an internal monologue. You have you that exists. You're basically 3 pounds of Greek yogurt that's piloting a skeleton. You know, so when something's wrong with that, it's a very weird feeling to know that, you know, when they treat this, what changes? You know, your entire opinion on something can change from a bump in the head. You know, there's been so many documented cases, somebody falling, getting a concussion, and their entire personality changes overnight because the thinky boy got broken.
Isn't that what they relate to, like football now, like CTE?
Yep.
Right? They say some people are acting out of character because of the head trauma and the concussions.
Have you ever had a concussion?
Not that I remember. Yeah.
Not that I know of.
I've had 2, and both times the signature sign that I had a concussion was something felt wrong, and there was no way to put your thumb on it. Something was just
off.
You ever had just a gut feeling?
Yeah.
It was like that, but for everything in existence, to include yourself, your body, your mind, your thoughts, your vision, hearing, smell, sound, taste. Everything was wrong. I'm like, I went to the doctor. I'm like, something's wrong. I'm like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. Something's wrong. I'm like, probably a concussion. That's like the telltale sign of a concussion is something's off. I don't know what it is, but something's off.
Yeah.
And so learning something was wrong with my brain was the first time I learned. That was the first instance of me learning something was wrong with my brain. At this point, I was no medication. I took Motrin for some back pain, like a good Marine, and I changed my socks every day. So at this point, I had zero mental health time. I'd never been to therapy. I'd never been to a psychiatrist, never been to a doctor for anything outside of, hey, this hurts, here's a shot, hey, this hurts, 2 weeks of light duty, you know, your basic crap. So to go from that to you got a brain tumor on the part of you that makes all of your hormones yourself, which hormones make you. Elevated testosterone, you have different moods and opinions of things than elevated estrogen. Or there's like 50 different hormones that do things like that. So it was a weird, like, heart-to-heart with myself to realize that, like, something is wrong with me as a whole right now, and I don't know what the side effects could be long-term. I ended up getting very lucky. They treated it with overwhelming hormone reverse therapy. So essentially, I started taking enough tamoxifen to reduce my estrogen to, like, nothing. And the benign tumor ended up shrinking a little bit down. It's still there, but it's so benign that it's not cancerous. It's not like an issue.
Yeah.
Essentially, they shrank it back and they basically pushed the power button on my pituitary gland and held it down until it restarted and started doing the right job. And even now, though, I still have a low testosterone. I've been fighting with the VA on this for years now, trying to get testosterone treatment. I average below 100 on my testosterone, which for any gym nerds knows that's real bad. The amount of work that I have to put in to maintain the size that I am is a lot all the time. And, you know, I get real defensive. It's like, must be nice to have good genetics. I'm like, slap the taste out of your mouth. You don't know how much I have to eat to do this.
Yeah.
So it ended up being okay. I got the double gyno removal. They did both sides. And when they nicked that nerve, that's when I started having a lot of issues. And I was... You know, when you can't feel the trigger of your gun, it's a decision you need to make quickly that I'm not going to carry one anymore. I never, as a cop, I prided myself in, I don't think I've ever had an interaction with somebody where they thought I was an asshole. And the last thing I'd want to do is be in a situation where I have my gun drawn and I fire on accident because of an injury. So I made the decision that I didn't want to be on the front anymore. I moved to a desk job. I started being like the patrol supervisor. From the desk sergeant. Plus, I was hurt. Can't do pull-ups. Can't do PFTs. You know, it's a good place. I didn't have to gear up with the bulletproof vest because I had a bulletproof window. So I started doing that until that was about a year and some change of doing that. I loved that job. I loved doing the administrative work for the platoon. They liked me doing the schedule and everything like that. And eventually, I got my med package submitted and came back at it was like 20% DOD and 100% P&T.
Okay. Damn.
With a lot more things during that year and a half, discovering about myself, diagnosed with severe anxiety, just baked into me, PTSD from some of the things I had to see working on the roads, depression that came from anxiety and PTSD, and now severe ADHD, which has been a big shift in my thinking once again towards how I feel about myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know?
do you mind taking us through that a little bit?
Sure. Which one?
Probably the ADHD, because I don't think. What you got? Yeah. So if you could take us through the ADHD, I guess, because a lot of people classify that. I feel like when I was a kid, they're like ADHD. It means they just can't pay attention. X, Y, Z. And I feel like you have a ton of knowledge.
It is very different than that.
Hold on. We'll save that first part, and then you can get into it.
That's why I forgot. That's why you put your hand up.
Yeah. I was like, he did the thing. He told me about the thing.
I was like, oh, he has a question. What do you got down front? You know?
How are we doing? I'm letting you talk enough?
No,
I'm not-
dude, you're
I'm not
good.
running
This is
over the
about
top.
you.
It's your episode.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
just
about
making
you,
sure.
dude.
One of the things with ADHD is you run over the top of people on accident and don't realize you're doing it.
We can
No,
definitely
this is-
bring that up.
This is you doing.
That-
you can
I-
absolutely do that.
This
Yeah.
is what we need because we want people to hear
Your
Yeah.
story.
your
Yeah,
story.
yeah. And so, like, with that, though, learning about it has made me more aware, and I just want to be like, hey, I'm not talking over you too much, right? I'm not doing this, right?
No, you're good.
So,
Nah, man.
perfect.
Where did we leave off? Like at
He
his
was
thought?
getting into ADHD.
Okay.
You want to ask the question again of, like, when you were a
I
kid?
have that part.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, a lot of
Yeah,
people...
I'm in.
A lot of people do think that ADHD is that kid that fidgets too much and bounces their legs and can't stay on topic, and ooh squirrel, which I hate. I hate the ooh squirrel thing. That's like one of the most annoying, I think, stereotypes of it. It's defined as an executive dysfunction in the brain. So the part that you control and the part you don't control of your brain, right? You have your conscious and your subconscious. Basically, with ADHD and autism as well, they kind of end up very differently similar. Those two pieces of the brain don't talk right. They either don't communicate as a whole, or there's essentially, like, best way to put it, right? You need to get up and use the restroom, right? What is the thought process?
Get up and go pee.
Get up and go pee. Okay, that's it. For me, it ends up being, I need to go to the bathroom. Well, I'm doing something. Well, I haven't drank that much water. I probably don't have to pee that bad. Well, I need to go pee. You should definitely pee. Holding your pee is bad. Why is holding your pee bad? Well, I saw a video a long time ago on why holding your piss can damage your kidneys and your bladder. And you let it sit there too long, you can get bladder stones. Whatever. I'll do it here in a minute. And then I'm like, okay, time to get up and go pee. Get up and go pee. Body, do the thing. Let's go. Come on, stand up. And then it's just like the front of my brain is screaming at the back of the brain to complete the task, but the back of the brain is like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. So it ends up being a like massive issue of the brain not communicating with itself, with the parts you control and the parts you don't control. And the way those can kind of exhibit themselves in the world that the people can observe. You know, the internal dialogue is completely different than the fidgeting and the off task and the focus issues. And
But that's essentially what it is, though.
it is.
The reason you have the off tasks or you get drawn somewhere else is because of the miscommunication.
Executive dysfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, the running joke is, oh, my brain, I'm too fast. I need to microdose meth over it. The reason they prescribe a very powerful stimulant for ADHD is it takes that part of the brain in the back that's not doing its job and cranks it to 11 to force it to catch up with everything else.
Okay.
So the front of the brain slows down due to the stimulant because the back of the brain is catching up. Which it's not actually front and back. That's just kind of my analogy for it. The front end is what I control. The back end is what controls, movement. You don't think about wiggling your fingers. You just wiggle your fingers. That's an unconscious thing. Yeah. That is the bit that is not communicating properly. And there's so many different flavors of ADHD. Just like there's so many flavors of autism. There's some people that they have autism and they can do extreme calculus off the top of their head, but they can't figure out how the fuck a spoon works. And there's some people that could basically run an entire 15 chess games simultaneously, but if you needed to make eye contact and say thank you, come again, it would be the worst day of their life, right? So ADHD is very similar to that, where there are different flavors of it. Mine is, my multitasking is severely hindered. I had to do, for my testing, I had to do a full IQ battery. So I had to take the 5-point IQ test. I scored superior human in every category except multitasking, where I scored below mentally disabled. So in every regard, I should be very close to being a genius, but my average IQ is brought down by the fact that I have something below an 85 compared to my 125s and 135s in the other part of my function. You know, my ability to manipulate the world around me, my ability to, you know, cognitively take in information and retain it, my ability, social interactions is part of an IQ test, my ability to understand your body language and understand what we're doing here, the ability to remember that he's over there and I can physically see him even though I'm not looking at him. My brain can do that. I can see him. I can even spin him around in circles if I wanted to, right? But my ability to do that at the same time as talking without medication is completely trashed. To the point of the squirrel is my inability to multitask. I would be like blah, 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 and it's pulling all of every ounce of my attention in one direction or another.
Yeah. That's where the squirrel thing comes from.
That's where the squirrel thing comes from. But it's not so much like a I'm so quirky, lol XD. It's my brain is focusing, but it's only able to do one task at a time. And with a lot of jobs and social interactions, that can be thrown out the window. So there's a lot of telltale signs of ADHD. I actually would like to pull them up for you so you can you can hear the formal ones.
Yeah, no, help
absolutely.
us. We want to learn. And
And I've been doing a lot of learning. You know, I never thought I always thought ADHD was the guy that wiggled his leg and was squirrely. You know, I never really.
I would agree. I would say that I probably classified the squirrel stereotype more often than not, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I had never put too much thought into it. You know, I never thought that my issues with reading were ADHD related. But it's my brain's inability to multitask. We read, but the ability to take those words and stick them together was gone. So I would read the words 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, I can read every one of these words in English. Why can't I stick them in a sentence and understand that this says the dog is brown? But my brain would be like, dump it. Dog, dump it. Is, dump it. Brown, dump it. What color is the dog? What fucking dog? Right? It's like the information is not retained the correct way.
Yeah.
So a lot of the symptoms are as often fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes in tasks, right? So that careless mistakes almost feels like you just don't give a shit. Often have trouble holding attention or tasks or other play activities, which this is also for kids. A lot of kids get diagnosed, so a lot of these are going to sound kind of childish, but, you know, replace play with work, you know. Trouble holding attention on a task. Does not follow through on instructions or fails to finish schoolwork, chores, duties in the workplace. You lose focus, you get sidetracked. I call it side questing. I go on some wild side quests sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I actually really like that one.
Yeah, it's what it is. You know, the main quest is over there, but fuck, I really got to go over there.
Yeah.
And then you end up going over there, and there's 3 more over there, so I go down those, and that takes me to Nurse City, and I'm over there now, and it's here we go.
Side questing, I like that.
Often has trouble organizing your actual like tasks and activities. So the ability to mentally organize like a calendar in your head. So you had today planned, and the way you saw today happening and planned out for the timetables is completely different than how I viewed it. And a lot of people with ADHD suffer from something called time blindness, where you know how long do you think we've been sitting here?
Well, I just know we hit the hour mark, so probably been at hour 5 now.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's about anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 hours. I have no fucking idea, no earthly clue how long we've been sitting here. I have to look at a clock, and I keep a mental track of how often I look at the clock. So right now I look, it's 1:30. When I look back, I have to remember, okay, it was 1:30 when I look back. It's this time now. Okay, so about this much time has passed. And it causes something called hyperfocus, where you can do one task, and you can end up doing one task for hours. So long on one task that you start neglecting your bodily functions of eating, drinking, using the restroom because of your obsession with one task at a time. Avoids, dislikes, and is reluctant to do tasks that require mental effort over a long period of time, such as homework, schoolwork, or take-home work.
Yeah.
Is a big one. Very forgetful, losing things. Books, tools, wallets, keys, paperwork. I lost my shoes this morning. Couldn't find my shoes to save my fucking life. They were in my garage. I didn't go in my garage yesterday. So 2 a.m. unmedicated me made a really weird choice of where to put my shoes. Easily distracted and is often forgetful and
Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like sleepwalking?
No, I got off my computer, stopped my stream about 2 a.m. I guess I took my shoes off, and then I probably threw something in the garage, like a box or something. I had to take a wild guess, and my shoes are in my hands, and I have a fucking thing going there too. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't have a clue.
That's wild.
I don't know if I have a clue. So sometimes I'm looking for my keys. It's not a matter of, I forgot where to fucking put my keys. I don't fucking know if they exist or not, brother. I don't know where the hell they exist. Like, I imagine since I own a truck, I have a set of keys some fucking where.
So I know you said that like the ADHD and being diagnosed with that has brought like real. You think you've handled which one? Not that I want to put them in like a rank system, but between the gynecomastia, brain tumor, ADHD, how would you rank those? Like which one has really taken?
Cuddle, marry, trash right now.
What is it?
Cuddle, marry, trash.
Yeah.
Which one
Cuddle,
has...
marry, trash.
Yeah.
Oh, like
I'd
fuck,
cuddle.
marry, kill.
Cuddle. I'd cuddle the brain tumor. It served its purpose and it was easily to take care of. I would trash the alcoholism entirely. Throw that out the window. I hate that guy. If I could be rid of that problem and have a beer with you while we did this, that'd be the coolest thing ever. But so that would be the only thing I would say if I had to pick between the three. And then I'd marry the ADHD. Being diagnosed formally, right, is I don't know. Have you ever been diagnosed with anything formally, mentally?
I was gonna make a joke there and I stopped.
You can. I make fun of this crap all the time. I literally call my hyperfixation side quest. Come on now.
I know, fuck, dude. I was gonna be like, yeah, I was diagnosed as a fucking badass, sexiest man alive. Like,
world's sexiest mustache, baby.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's being cool, being the class clown. There's a lot of things I feel like I was diagnosed with.
Yeah.
No, I can't sit here and say that. I think I suffer from anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Being actually diagnosed with it, though, I think that's something, to be honest, being worked towards.
Yeah. But you've taken the steps to understand what anxiety is.
Yeah.
You understand how it makes you feel, and that sometimes feelings that you have probably aren't the real thing, and it's anxiety acting up.
Yeah,
right?
I would say like my anxiety, like at least how my doctor says, who we had last week,
Cool.
Dr. Pace, she pretty much described it as I kind of like how you said the different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
She said my strongest emotion during like my anxiety attacks is anger, where as in I'll just be boiled over, ready to explode because it's just tied to anger management. Openly I'll say my brother was bipolar. My mom, I think, was bipolar, but maybe not diagnosed accordingly. But she was a hot fuse. So when I get so rattled around something, it's like my anger is the one thing that'll peak first, and then I go into like blackout mode, where I don't know what I'm yelling and screaming about.
You're just mad.
And then when I come down, I feel, man, you turn this into like a therapy session. I feel instant guilt because of whoever's in my pathway during that time.
In that war path.
And don't even know why I did it.
Yep.
So I would say, that's...
So think of before you understood what anxiety was and what was causing those anger outbursts, right? Beforehand, you would probably think something along, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I do that? I didn't want to do that. That's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. And I'll circle back to the anger thing because ADHD has a fun relationship with it as well. Learning about the formal diagnosis and learning that it's not just, haha, squirrel, I can't sit still. I got to do things. Learning that it's actually an executive dysfunction has made me be incredibly compassionate with myself over my shortcomings that I've always had. The inability to focus on something, the inability to read for a long period of time. I have so many books I want to read that I've just never been able to. I get through like a half a chapter and I'm like, I'm no longer retaining information. I'm gonna put this down. And they're really cool books that I really want to read. I have a book this thick of Edgar Allan Poe, Lovecraft. I've got all those things that I just adore and I can't read them. I have to do audiobooks, which is not the same as letting your imagination run. But learning that, a lot of the quirks of my personality that I despised for my whole life. Why am I lazy? Why do I not want to get up? Why do I have such a hard fucking time remembering where the fuck I put my wallet? What is wrong with me? I forgot this date that I was supposed to go on. I planned it. I did everything. I made the reservation and I fucking forgot about it. What the fuck is wrong with me, dude? I don't know how many times I sat in a mirror being like, what the fuck is your deal, dude? Why are you like this? Learning that it's not a choice. That it was a executive dysfunction that I had no part in. That I have no ability to influence outside of the ways I do it. Here's a fun one. How many alarms do you have on your phone right now?
3.
3? I have over 200.
But for what? Well,
like
that was
7.
going to be rude.
It goes on. Because that's how I coped. The way I forced myself. I instead of adjusting my world, and for a lot of people with ADHD and autism, we kind of get along in this regard. The world will never bend to you. You bend to the world. So what a lot of us do is we develop these coping mechanisms and these things we have to do to make sure that we function normally as adults. One of those alarms tells me to pay my electric bill. It goes off on the 1st of every month at exactly 11 a.m. when I'm sitting at my PC doing my admin work for the day. And it goes off, pay your fucking electric bill. Because I will fucking forget until they start hitting me with late charges. I'm like, fuck. I don't want to. It's not a matter of I want to have electricity. I have the money for it. It's not an issue of money. It's a matter of the light bill does not exist unless the bill is in front of me. So I have alarms for everything in my life, from going to the gym to when I'm at the gym. I have alarms that remind me to, hey, are you on task right now? Have you gotten distracted? About 20 minutes into my gym time, I have an alarm that goes off. It's like, hey, fucking, if you're talking right now, you need to be working out.
Yeah, I think you've openly told me, like, I've came up to you in the gym and been like, hey, leave the house, things, whatever. And you've openly been like, hey, I have to keep moving.
Yeah.
And it's not because you want to be a dickhead.
It's not being a dick, because if I talk to you, we'll end up doing one of these every day at the gym, and I won't have a workout.
Fuck.
That is simply, and
this oversized shirt would be a little more oversized on me. I'd be swimming in it over here.
Yeah, it's and there's a lot of flavors of it. So with you know, you said you had the anxiety that produces anger with ADHD. A lot of people have extreme anger disorders due to ADHD because the executive dysfunction that's telling them to calm the fuck down doesn't exist. So the raw rage goes in. But mine's the opposite. I do not remember the last time I was angry. I don't really remember the last time. I remember when I caught my wife cheating on me. At the time, I'm my ex-wife now. I caught her cheating on me, and I wasn't angry.
I feel like that's a pretty good reason to get angry.
I was so emotion. That is the best way to put it. I felt emotion, but it wasn't anger. I wasn't mad. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't throwing it. So I get the fuck out. I'll see you never. And that was it. I moved on. I cried. I fucking did all the things, you know, started going to the gym and all that crap that we do as our come up story. But during it, I never had anger. I don't remember the last time I was angry. I've had to arrest people that molested children. I don't remember feeling angry over it. So for me,
that one was
you could.
a
lot of
I'm
people
thinking murder, dude.
Dude, no, yeah, and
murder.
It like I would be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind. You know, but like I wasn't angry about it. It's anger almost doesn't exist in me, and it's an emotion it's a good emotion to have.
Yeah.
Anger it's a good emotion for defense. Being angry at somebody, being able to be angry at somebody is an important emotion. If somebody wrongs you, the ability to hold anger towards them, not to hold a grudge for no reason, but to defend yourself, to protect yourself from the world. And with me lacking almost any anger at all, I've let myself get taken advantage of a lot. I've let myself be the butt of many things because I wouldn't be angry enough to defend myself. And a lot of times in the Marine Corps especially, if you're not an angry alpha male, who gives a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So the way I always got around it is I'm witty. I'm real witty. And I would be able to basically talk my way out of things, or I just made people feel fucking stupid. That was something. I used to tell people when they're trying to get in my fucking face, I told them to spell something. And they never could. And it always made me laugh. And it's super solid.
You would have gotten me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
You would have gotten me.
They spell basement. What the fuck? You can't spell it?
You hit me with any kind of math problem too? Fuck.
Yeah, because if they can't spell it, you just call them stupid. And if they do spell it, you congratulate them for doing a simple task that a 3-year-old could do. No matter what they do, they lose. But they basically have to... It makes them either simmer the fuck down because they have to think about something else for a minute, or they get violent enough to attack and we can move on with this. Because I've never had a problem fighting. I don't mind fighting. I like fighting. Yeah. I enjoy it. I've always had a good time fighting. I've never been angry while I did it, though.
Yeah.
I've been hitting the back of the head with a 2x4 and I got up and I wasn't mad about it. I was
that's
fucking weird.
I would classify that as like caveman status. Like just fighting, like you just
I just pull somebody we know and tell Sergeant Major, hey, drop blouse.
Yeah,
oh, dude,
I have a good time. Yeah, no, I always had a good time fighting. I love doing McMap. I love doing martial arts. I always had a good time. Any sparring PTs we ever did, I had a blast. I loved fighting. You know, barracks brawls were a blast. You got 30 people versus 60. Oh, dude, I had the best time of my life out there.
Damn.
You know, but I was never mad about it. I've never experienced seething rage, like a blackout rage. I've never experienced that.
Oh,
and it's got to do with the fact that my body essentially, whenever we get mad, my brain just flips the emotion on its ass and it doesn't exist. It just gets thrown out the damn window.
Damn.
But learning that, like, because I interrupt people all the time. That's a thing with ADHD, apparently. I thought I was just a rude asshole. I really did. People be like, oh, you interrupt everybody. I'm like, I fucking know. I'm so sorry. I want to make sure I'm not doing that. I try to get real small and apologize. And, you know, in our little break there, I even did it. I wanted to make sure I wasn't talking over the top of you.
Yeah, no, you're good. This is your story.
Yeah,
man.
but learning about ADHD taught me that, hey, man, it's not because you don't respect what they're saying. It's just how you function. And when people tell me a story, right, my first instinct is to bring a story of mine and hand it to you. To say, hey, me too, man. But a lot of people take that as me trying to take the spotlight out of their
Or
head.
like
Or
a
one
one
up.
up. Yeah.
One up. A lot of people
Yep.
see it as one up, and even if I tell like a lesser, and I've been accused of being a one upper, and I'm like, so I would tell a lesser story. You told me you got in a car crash. I'm like, well, I fell off my bike one time, so I get it. You know, like I would.
What if I then one less you and was like, I tripped and
we
skated.
get in a
Yeah.
one less fight. I've never gotten in a one less fight, but that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's another coping mechanism though. I stopped telling a story that was either more extreme because I have had a very weird and extreme life, and a lot of people have it. So I've stopped telling the weird extreme things, and I've moved down to something way lesser. But it's my brain's way of saying, hey, I understand. Here's my memory of these things. I understand what you're feeling, and I'm being an empath about it. I'm being empathetic towards what you're feeling. But a lot of people don't see it that way. And that's an ADHD thing.
They're like, dude, that guy's a dickhead.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see it that way. But it's so fun when I meet somebody else with ADHD and we both are diagnosed because we can almost, it's like you get to talk freely. Whereas right now I have a lot of thought going into how I'm talking and how I'm interacting and social interactions with neurotypical peoples, what we call you normal folk. Neurotypical cooties over there.
Yeah.
Talking to people with autism or ADHD, I end up feeling like I can be more expressive because neither one of us, we both take our filters and throw them off. And you get to just let the words flow out of your mouth as quickly as you can, and it feels good. I imagine it's akin to being in a foreign country and somebody else speaks English. You're like, oh, fucking thank God.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lady at the gym. She works out with Jen, the blonde lady. She's been working out with Jen here lately a lot. She's one of the staff's girlfriends, but she's very, very ADHD as well. And we started talking one day, and we both started talking over each other. Neither one of us stopped, but we both but we both understood what the other was saying at the same time. And we're like, oh my God, you too. And it's like this little like subsection of people that we kind of get along with better. And there's a lot of little signs. Every teacher I've ever had told me I was a genius if I would just try harder. Every teacher I've ever had told me I would be better off if I just tried to work harder. You know, every NCO I ever had told me if I just fucking would pay attention to details, I'd be the best fucking Marine they ever met. You know, I've had that same story with every interaction. If I just did this better, I would be the best. And I'm never the best, right? So I just always assumed I was just a fucking shithead. Something was wrong with me. I was broken. I was wrong. I'm lazy. I'm fucking unmotivated. I'd spend 12 hours laying in bed staring at my ceiling fan. Not out of depression or anything else. I just laid there. There was no thoughts. I was just a lazy bastard because I had shit to do those days. And it turns out that it's a whole problem with how my brain intakes and outputs information and tasks and management. And getting on the medication for it, man, I don't know. Remember the first time you ever put on noise-canceling headphones? The first time you put them on and activated them and everything went quiet and you had that like feeling wash over. You almost get goosebumps.
Yeah.
When the first time I took Adderall was like that. Everything went quiet, my brain focused in, and it felt like I was looking at one thing for the first time in my life. And it was truly I sat there and cried about it. I'll be a man about it. I'll sit there and cry. I didn't know what to do with it. I sat there and thought about one thing, and then I kept thinking about it. And then I got up, and I started washing the dishes while holding a conversation and sending a text message. And I'm like, son of a bitch, this is what you people feel like? I was so mad because for my whole life I thought something was just seriously wrong with me and I was born broken.
Yeah.
And I was. But and it may not have been as severe when I was a kid to the point of needing medication, but the PTSD definitely made it worse. And now being medicated for the first time in my life for it, I'm taking amphetamines. I'm about to bump up my dose. I'm about to move to 40 milligrams a day of amphetamine. Right? Most people, that would be a weird fucking feeling to take. You would be hyperactive. I popped it the other day. I felt it kick in. I felt the world go kind of quiet. I took a fat nap. So I basically smoked meth and took a nap.
Oh, yeah. Well deserved.
ADHD, our brains do stimulants backwards as well. I've drinking these energy drinks and fallen asleep halfway through. I've fallen asleep after drinking my pre-workout.
Damn.
Because the caffeine stimulating my brain, it was basically me self-medicating. I was pumping stimulants through my system because it was the only time that I felt like I could focus.
I drink coffee to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to one up.
Yeah.
I'm not being a one up.
Yeah, here comes the one upper.
You might have a little bit of the ADHD, buddy.
I have like 6 cups of coffee a day.
And pass out?
I drink it in bed when I'm going to bed. Yeah.
You might want to have a talk with somebody. That's a big sign.
Yeah.
Were you really good at tests but really bad at homework?
Yeah, I don't do homework.
Yeah, but you ace the test every time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
people
a big
always said
that's a
that,
big
like,
sign.
Here we go.
People always said that. Like, I was gonna ask them that. Like, are you guys like vegans? Like, do you like once you meet somebody, you gotta tell them like, I have ADHD.
Not really.
Hey, my name's Joey. I'm a vegan.
Hey, my name's Mike. I have a small dick.
When I am,
Sorry,
We've all
that's
seen
not me one-upping. That's absolutely one lesson.
look at this guy. He's got a dick.
Yeah.
Fucking show
Oh, dude.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's quite a vegan thing. Right now, it is very exciting for me because it's a big change in my life, and I'm preaching to the suns and moons about it. And I've suffered for a long time, and I have the ability to basically remove an issue of mine almost entirely. You know, I'm sitting here talking with y'all, thinking about what you just said, thinking about what you've said, thinking about how my truck's parked out there, and thinking about how my girlfriend's making a video at home right now, and it's fine. It's not an issue. Whereas unmedicated me, I would stop and be like, see, I'll do my best zone out here and be like, yeah, man, blah, 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 blah. And that was my brain running to the next thought. You know, I left the situation I was in to think about my girlfriend making this thing at home. Staring off into space for long periods of time, having bad organizational skills is a really big sign of it. You know, like, a lot of us will always make the joke, my house isn't dirty, it's just cluttered, you know. My house isn't dirty. There's nothing filthy in my house. I keep it very clean, but my shit kind of everywhere.
So you know where it is, though.
Yeah, I know where everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes until I forget and then don't exist anymore. Fucking.
So taking all of these, because I do want to transition into your current career goal,
Sure.
everything. Not to get off topic, I think we learned a lot, but I think it's a good tie-in. So taking, especially something like ADHD, where now you have to be super socially active with what you do, which is online gaming.
Yep.
So how do you balance having ADHD, where technically, now this is my perspective, when I see somebody live streaming a game, they're talking, they're explaining, they're doing the task. They also have set up equipment, so sometimes they're working equipment.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance ADHD, where you've said organizationally, sometimes you falter? How do you manage being an online gamer? And what is your online gamer tag for those that are going to listen?
My name is RainmanGames. I'm on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram under that name. One word, RainmanGames. It's not based off the movie, but there were still 4 toothpicks in the box for everyone who wants to make the joke. My first name's Ryan with an I, and everyone pronounces my name wrong. And I've always just been called Rain. So my nickname in the Marine Corps ended up being Rain Man. Because every time I went on a field op, it'd rain. Like, oh, here comes Rain Man. And so it kind of like, it turned into like 1 or 2 people calling me that, to just my close friends calling me that, to it turned into my online name, and it's turned into my Twitch account.
Nice.
I don't, if you don't ever do any like online live stuff, right?
Not online live, but I'll tell you the game of my choice right now is Fortnite.
Ugh.
Fortnite absolutely sucks.
Yeah, I can't. I salute you for whatever you
Mike
like.
and I play Fortnite.
Whatever you like is cool. That as long as you enjoy it,
that.
I hope
I'll
you
give them
enjoy
trash
it.
for it all
As
day.
long as it's not Roblox.
No.
Because that game's an affront to humanity. Don't get me started.
Nah, you're good.
So we use something called OBS, and it's how you capture the game, you capture your audio, you capture everything, and you put it packages it all together and sends it off to the website that you're live streaming from. And you have scenes, right? And you have like my live, my starting soon, be right back, ending, blah 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 blah. And then you have your sources. The sources are what's on screen. So if the main source, which is like the game, right, is on the very top, everything would be behind it. So you gotta move the main game to the back, and you have to basically. You ever done like digital art where you have to stack everything on top of each other?
Like Facebook. MySpace.
Yeah, kind of like old MySpace.
Throwback.
So you have to stack things, right? And so if my camera is below the game, you can't see me. If it's above the game, you can see me. So I have, on average, 78 sources that I manage at once. A lot of these are stuff like my camera, my cat cam. I've got, my cat cam has a label on it, that tells, my cat's name is Carrot. So it's Catmander Carrot, because we're all commanders, so he's Catmander. I've got my...
You said that's his name?
Carrot, yeah.
Oh, Carrot.
Carrot, like the veggie. But his
rank is Catmander.
He's Catmander.
Oh.
Yeah, because we're in the game I play, we're
Still
commanders.
sick either way.
Yeah, we're commanders, so he's Catmander. He's my co-pilot, is what we also call him. bunch of nerds in this game.
Love it.
So I've got about 70 to 80 some odd things in there that's stacked, and some of them are, I've got one that's like, it makes my camera take up the entire screen, and it's just my face. So when someone makes a dad joke, I can just be like, the whole screen's my face, being disappointed at them. I've got things that throw things at me when you donate money. I've got things that flash up when you do things. I've got certain things you can trigger everywhere. I've got... the whole stream is meant to be incredibly interactive. I've got about 150 memes baked into the thing that you can activate at any time.
And that's what the viewer does?
Yeah,
Viewers
chat or redeem things or donate money, and those activate different things on the screen. Yeah. So I've got something for everyone, people that have points, people that don't have points, and people that have money. With the money stuff being a bit, better in production, because I want to encourage people to spend money. This is my full-time job, without, shaking the cup and saying get a real job. Yeah. But, donations and subscriptions are how I pay the bills every month with streaming. But getting my stream set up, it started out, I got really lucky with my mental problems. It started out as a hyperfixation. So I sat for about 9 hours straight, didn't eat, didn't drink water, didn't get up, didn't piss, didn't shit, and I built OBS. And I built my live streaming setup because my friend told me I should do it, and then he said, but I don't know if you'll be able to, and that pissed me off, so I did it.
Encouragement. We want to call that encouragement.
With ADHD, and we're going to loop back to this a lot, one of the things that is very, very universal, telling me to do a task I'm currently doing or have intentions to do in the near future, well, I would rather eat my fucking shoe than do it now. If I'm grabbing the vacuum cleaner and undoing the cord, hey, you're going to vacuum? I would really rather eat the vacuum cleaner than fucking vacuum now. I would rather die than complete this task now. But it works the opposite way, saying, hey, you can't do that. I will fucking die before I stop this task. So I got lucky with that, and my buddy accidentally triggered that emotion. Mind you, I didn't know this was a thing then. I wasn't diagnosed. I had no idea. To me, I was just a guy with PTSD at the time. I sat down for so long that my girlfriend was concerned about me, and I fired up my first live stream that night and to my girlfriend who watched, and that was it. And I built it all, and I've learned how to multitask differently. I have alarms for my computer that go off every 35-ish seconds, a little ding that reminds me to look at chat to make sure anybody's talked to me. I can hear it. I hear my own voice through my headphones. How you're hearing my voice right now is how I hear my voice when I'm live, so that I can hear exactly what the audience is hearing. All of my audio is split. I've got 35 audio channels going into OBS separately, so that I can tune each one of them to be exactly as loud as I want them to be. And doing all this took months and weeks and weeks to months and months of refinement, and I didn't have anybody to help me. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't know anybody else that live streamed. I was alone and unafraid and figuring things out, and I think that's why I've been so successful, is I didn't base myself off of anybody. I didn't watch Twitch before I started streaming on Twitch. I had an account from a buddy of mine that streamed a few years ago, and I used to go in there and drop $20 on him once a month and leave. Like, that was my entire I followed one person, I had one follower, and that was it. Never streamed on it, never did anything on it. I literally had it because I supported my friend a long time ago. And so through the process of trial and error and figuring out, I try to make my stream what would I want to watch as somebody who doesn't normally watch live streams. And so it's kind of created this thing that's grown so fast. I became affiliated with Twitch in 7 days, which is borderline a speed run from 0 to hero without anybody knowing my name beforehand. I made it to the mark of where I have to do tax forms in 7 days. In 6 months, I got partnered with the company that makes my game. So I am one of the 30 influencers in the world that they recognize as their people.
Damn.
I have a contact at the company. I get exclusive things. I get inside information. I have NDAs and embargoes on information that I'm not allowed to share with anybody. They sent me like a sick-ass Letterman jacket. I get custom drops, and I was the first one in America to get that in less than a year of trying. I've been streaming for I've been streaming for 6 months, and I made the criteria for it. So the way I've built my channel up is I want it to be, it's just a place to vibe and hang out of all shapes, sizes, everything, everybody, all creeds, colors, sexes, anything, everything goes. I don't give a damn. The only rule is no politics, no religion. That's the literal only rules in any capacity. And then don't be a shithead,
Yeah.
That falls into, don't be sexist, homophobic, fucking transphobic, anything. Because if it doesn't affect you right now, don't talk about it in my live stream. That's the only real rule we have. And so the conversations end up being these wavy things. I've gone on 2-hour rants about Pokemon pissing me off because it all looks like furry shit now, all the way up to why I think Ubisoft is fucking up the entire world's video game companies. You know, I've gone into deep dives into why fitness can be addicting and problematic for a lot of people, and how counting calories can be very problematic for a lot of people because it is the gateway drug to an eating disorder, as opposed to people who don't know what a fucking calorie is. You need to count calories, you know. And I've gone on these rants and tangents and, you know, all over the place, but I've also just said some of the dumbest shit anybody's ever heard in their life. You know, I do silly shit all the time. Last night I was playing, you ever heard of Valheim?
No.
Minecraft with Vikings.
Okay.
It's like you build things. You heard of it?
Yeah.
You ever played it?
I have not. No.
You ever seen anything of it?
No. I've only played like not Skyrim. Call of Duty, and then the other one that's like kind of spacey. Because I streamed for a little bit as well.
Starfield?
No.
No Man's Sky?
No. They don't make it. It was back in like 2014, 15.
Star Citizen?
No.
Space is my thing.
Multiplayer.
Anyway, so last night a leech bit me in the swamp biome. So I got mad. So I leveled the entire area, removed the swamp from the swamp, cut every tree down, leveled the entire place, paved it, and built a Dollar General on it.
Overwatch?
No.
I put a giant sign up, said, "A leech bit me," turned their home into a parking lot.
Destiny.
That's the one. So like little dumb shit like that. Like it's not I'm not the best at gameplay. I'm not the best at narration. I don't really have a story to tell sometimes. But last night I went on a 4-hour adventure where I built a Dollar General in a Viking game because a leech pissed me off and killed me. I have a picture too. It's really funny. It made me giggle way too hard last night. I sent it to my friends, and I don't know if you're from the Midwest, you understand the Dollar General thing.
They just pop up from anywhere.
Yeah. So there's the billboard.
Dude, that's funny.
And then there's my Dollar General. It's
that's funny
really dumb, but that's kind of what my streams turn into, is just a place to hang out, vibe, and have a good time. And with ADHD, the multitasking has always been hard. Talking to people while doing something has been difficult. The game I play primarily is Elite Dangerous. It's a space simulation MMORPG. If you put the thrust on that way and you leave the computer, you will go that way until the heat death of the universe or the server goes down. One of the two. So it's a game I'm very passionate about. This week I will break 3,000 hours in game.
Wow.
With 1,400 of them being in the last 7 months. I stream the game almost 7 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Damn.
Yeah, and I am nowhere near done with the game. There's no end. There's actually no end, but there's also no boredom in sight.
Yeah.
So with it, I've had to learn how to tweak my problems and turn them into strengths in some ways. So I'm a little hyperactive and I'm a little all over the place, and I go on these weird fucking side quests. These side quests are the reason that I've been able to stream this game for so long, because I haven't finished a goddamn thing I set out to do yet. But I keep getting distracted and doing something else that takes 6 hours to do, and boom, we got a whole stream for the day. I'll try again tomorrow. We do the same shit tomorrow, get on a side quest, do it again, winch wash Pete, and we're good. And people like tuning in. We have lots of music. I play live music the whole time. We have song requests. And people show me their music, which music has always had a special place to me, as it's been the only thing I felt could really calm down the inner monologue sometimes, is like just a really good song. You know, depending on the emotion and the mood, the music has always been kind of there for me when a lot of things weren't. So a lot of people come in there just for the music. We play a little bit of everything except country. It's like our one rule is no country music.
You're from the hills and the mountains.
Yeah,
And no country.
I hate country music. I like bluegrass. I like folk music. I like
bluegrass.
I like folk rock. I like Johnny Cash and things like that. Like old like almost rock blues. Just can't stand modern country in any capacity. It's you've ever been on SoundCloud?
Yep.
Okay, I want you to go to SoundCloud, go to the news section, not the most watched, and listen to 30 of them in a row and tell me the difference between them. It will be the exact same beat with the same guy singing about the same thing, rapping over the same bullcrap, and that's what country ends up being. It's the same, and with ADHD, we can go back to it again with the vegan thing, you notice patterns and things, and you fixate on things. A lot of country music is 3 chords on repeat with lyrics, sang in the same southern twang. So all of the music ends up being so fucking repetitive that it doesn't tickle the back of my brain like I want the music to do. So I end up just with a distaste for that type of music. Because I like everything else. I like rap. I like hip hop. I like R&B. I love blues. I love folk. I love metal. I love death metal, screamo, Viking metal, shit in German techno rap. I love it all. Like it's as long as it's not the same thing. It has to be a good song is the criteria. And I just haven't seen many country music songs that hit me other than a place of my dog died and I want you to feel bad about it. Here's an emotion I'm telling you to feel. It doesn't actually bring it forth like, I don't know, a fucking My Chemical Romance song from 2007 could... You get into that, get a little drunk, listen to My Chemical Romance for a night.
Hell no, baby.
You will fucking be there in your goddamn feelings. I've never had a country song do that for me.
Damn.
Never once.
That's what opera does to me.
Opera's... we listen to opera while we mine in classical. When we do space mining, I'll do laser mining, listen to classical, like Mozart and Beethoven and things like that. Because just this giant this ship the size of a Walmart drifting through space. I'm in like third person view watching it. As I blow the rock up, you know. So yeah, opera is a really emotional type of music, and I just never got that from country. So that's like the only rules it's banned.
So you're, I mean, that's legit. So your passion for gaming has created just a probably like a whole new world for handling, coping with ADHD.
Absolutely.
Taught you new things. And then lastly, one thing we definitely wanted to put out there was you have a special involvement somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's with the Special Olympics.
I am the head powerlifting coach for Onslow County Special Olympics powerlifting team. The program had been dead for about 13 years when a guy that I worked with that I'd talked to twice said, "Hey man, you ever thought about coaching the Special Olympics?" Because I invited him to one of my powerlifting meets. I was like, "Nah, never once. Sign me up." And that's how I got into it. It was a side quest, and I ended up finding something that I am so passionate about. Working with the special needs community, and it's for mental disabilities only. It's gotta have an intellectual disability. So it's nothing like it's not like the Paralympics or anything like that. Special Olympics is all mental disability, from Down syndrome to extreme autism to cerebral palsy to what the old classification of MR, mental retardation, which is not what they use anymore, but a lot of athletes still have that classification on their file because it got removed like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's that community is who I'm working with. And now, it's funny enough, learning that I'm very neurodivergent and working with these guys who are extremely neurodivergent. Their brains do not operate on the same wavelength in any capacity that yours or I's even does. Even if mine's so different from yours, theirs is in a different country entirely from us right now. And helping them, using my coping skills to help teach someone who has a really hard time understanding the world around them what a bench press consists of and how to do it and how to follow the commands and turning it into games and turning it into something where they look forward to. And these athletes, their parents text me like they will not stop talking about powerlifting practice. This girl is 37 years old, and she's pumped to go to the gym and powerlift. She ain't been to a gym a day in her life, and she looks forward to it every single week because just the way we work with them, and it's not just me working with them, they work with me. You know, we have a relationship like that. They talk to me and I talk to them, and I do my best to understand. And some of them I have an athlete who has, it's called a tonal imbalance. So part of his body doesn't work right. I think it's his whole left side. So left leg, left arm, left side of his face. So when he talks, and he's in the left side of his vocal cord. So when he talks, they're gonna be like this. And then, you know, I've literally learned to like put subtitles under him in real time of what I'm trying to understand him and him trying to understand me, because, you know, he's very young in the head, and it ends up being, you know, a challenge, but the challenge itself has been the most rewarding thing I have ever done in my entire life. From saving people from buildings to you know, I've pulled people out of crashed cars, and I've done CPR on people and helped them and brought them back from death. Like literally to uncall the time of death because CPR managed to work, has nothing compared to watching one of my athletes walk on stage and get their first gold medal. It is a without comparison in any capacity.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
I love it. It's my favorite thing I've ever done. I don't get paid a penny for it, and I would do it. I would pay to do it honestly.
So when's the next competition, and like what do we got going on?
Our next one is state games. We just got back from Georgia. We actually whooped so much ass at our state games, we got invited to whoop another state's ass. So we went down, and 2 of my athletes took the overall gold for their entire division. So they got the business down there too. And it's I want to say it's not a competition, but winning rocks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Everybody
watching these guys win is I've been awarded gold medals at competitions before. I won first place in my first ever strongman competition by a margin of 2 on the calculations. I whooped their ass so bad that they didn't have a chance if they doubled themselves, right? And it has nothing compared to watching one of my guys walk up there and get a bronze medal. But we have our summer games coming up. That'll be the end of May, beginning of June. We'll be down in Raleigh. We'll be facing off against every county in the state that has a powerlifting team. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
And is there a way that we can put that out there and help? Because I know another thing we wanted to jump into. I don't know how long we've been running for, but one thing we wanted to talk about was you have like a live event.
Yep.
Like oh my god, like a fundraiser, charity.
24-hour charity stream.
Yeah. So tell us about that and how can we help put it out there?
Yeah.
And that's what we want to dive into as well.
Onslow County has had a powerlifting team for 13 years. The old coach was a Marine who got deployed, came back, PCS, see you gone. No one ever picked up the hat after he left. He didn't have any assistants. It was only 2 athletes at the time. The program died for a really long time. I actually had a storage container full of just moldy shirts, and that was all the equipment I was handed. Luckily, the gym was the Fit for Life. Shout out to them. They've given us free memberships to every athlete, free use of the fitness room every week for 3 hours, which is very expensive to block off.
Yeah.
Completely free, and free reign of the gym. I've got permission to like kick people off of shit if I need to. Like, hey, I need these 4 squat racks. Get fucked, nerd. So they've been very accommodating there. But what we don't have is a powerlifting rack, which is the IPF regulations. Got the levers on the back to prop up everything. And with special needs, consistency is key. Every single, no matter what the special need is, consistency. Doing the same thing every day and having them do what they do in practice is what they're going to do on game day is very important. And we have run into a lot of issues where we don't have that equipment. So I requested the funding from state and the county. County said we can't afford that. The state said we can't afford that for how many athletes.
Roughly how much is it?
About $1,200 for a fully brand new rack. I talked to the company though. I got a 15% discount and free shipping. For our cause, which it's like a 300-pound rack, so free shipping is actually like a bitch.
Yeah.
So they told me to fundraise in any way I see fit. They said you can do a bake sale or do a car wash, whatever. Well, I'm a live streamer on Twitch, so a Twitch platform is definitely where I'm leaning. So I'll be doing a 24-hour, completely live, no rest, just like duty. And I actually have another guy from North Carolina, Bristol Boy Gaming. I asked him if he'd like to, spend a few hours with me. I ask a lot of other streamers like, hey, can I block you out for like 2 or 3 hours here and there? I got 24 hours of shit to do. And I don't know what I'm going to do for 24 hours. He said he'd do the whole 24 hours with me, and we ended up turning it into a competition.
Oh, that's
so
legit.
He jumped right on board. He's from Fayetteville, without doxing him too hard, but he says his city all the time. He's doing the full 24 hours with me, so we've turned it into this face-off. So we're going to have fights every 12 hours to see how bad our flight patterns get in game. I've got collabs with basically every major streamer of Elite Dangerous. So during this 24 hours, the top 1% of all streamers in Twitch for that category are going to be live on my channel in some capacity, with myself being in the top like 10% right now of all the streamers on Twitch. I'm in the top 1% right now of all streamers on Twitch. So we're bringing a lot of people in. We're looking to raise right at $1,500. That is going to pay for the equipment, a set of singlets for the year, full travel and food expenses to Raleigh and back for 2 years, and then cover any additional costs that may come up. We end up needing, if I get an athlete that doesn't have any legs, we need to have a brace to hook them to the bench. This is money that will go only towards the powerlifting team. Anything left over will be basically put in reserves for us until we need it.
And how does one donate?
I'll have a link for you. It's going through my Ko-Fi account. I think it's ko-fi.com/RainmanGames. If that's not the exact link, he'll have it for you. It'll be, you can pay with PayPal, credit card, however you see fit. Any donations are very much welcome. We have a lot of giveaways, but almost all of it is based on our video game. So I don't know how much this crowd, but if you play Elite Dangerous, we're giving away a lot of Elite Dangerous stuff, and a lot of it's exclusive to the partner program, which I'm part of. So the only way you'll ever get some of this stuff is through giveaways during charity events from me and like 20 other people on the earth. If one of you happens to be a space nerd out there. But yeah, we've got, it'll be the 23rd through the 24th, starting at our time, 4 p.m., 2100 Universal Time. Because my audience is worldwide, so I use Universal Time almost exclusively now. That's the song and dance. We don't have any equipment. We need it. We've had a lot of generosity given our way, but a lot of athletes, with our bench presses at the gym, you know how they are, right?
Yep.
Normally those should basically unrack and move out of the way.
Yeah.
And when it moved, a lot of my athletes freaked out and almost dropped the weight on it because they weren't expecting something to move.
Yeah.
And so my biggest thing is consistency and safety, and this is the best way I can provide that. The gym's agreed to let us store it there forever. They gave me a room to lock it in upstairs. I don't have to carry a bench press and a squat rack up the damn stairs anymore in that back room, which my back is going to be thankful for.
And that's the bench that they use, right, for competition?
It's the bench and squat rack. It's a combo. You take the bench off, and it actually bolts, like it has pins it falls on, so it's perfectly centered every time. The bars move up and down, so it'll actually move into being a squat rack. And you can adjust the height of the bench press on the fly without having to remove the weight and everything like that. You literally just prop it up, take the pin out, let it down, and it goes up and down. It's the IPF powerlifting rack.
Nice. So, well, man, we appreciate all of that. I know I say all of that, and I say that respectfully.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of your story.
My life's been a weird one.
I think, but I think it helps. Like, our goal here, every single time, no matter who the guest is, what we bring on, what we're looking for, the one idea that we always want is we want the story. We want to hear what you've been through, your trials and tribulations, how you've overcome it, and how you still remain to be successful. Because that's ideally the stashed away thought, is like, how do people do it? What are the ingredients that get you to be as positive as you are and influential as you are? So we appreciate your time. For everybody out there, again, this was another episode. We got a lot of stuff covered, from ADHD to time in the military to, being transparent with our emotions and being transparent with ourselves, how to balance that, and then how to have those goals of a career path and how you can help benefit your community. And Ryan has done exactly just that. So we appreciate your time, Ryan. Or Rain, as you go by Rain.
Either one's fine. Either one's fine.
But hey, you heard it here first. We're definitely going to put out some links, some places. Ryan will help us do that, where you can see maybe his Twitch stream in general, or upcoming to those events, and those maybe some support if you want to provide support for his powerlifting team. Again, all of it's great, all of it works. But yeah, this concludes your latest episode of Stashed Away Thoughts. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.